you should not be or feel compelled to fight for them, die for them, and give your power away for free. Shout out to my man, Peaceful Life in the house, man. What's going on, brother? How you doing? How would you like to
Hey,
answer the
salute
conversation?
to you, my brother. Peace
Yes,
and
sir.
blessings, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
Uh, I saw your topic and it was interesting. I did the video today and I was like, let
Mm-hmm.
me go ahead and chime in with my brother, man. We're
Mm-hmm.
basically covering the same topic and we're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with many of the same issues that we see, man. Salute to you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I've talked about the concept peaceful life. You and I always talk on the back end. You know, you and I've been chopping it up for a long time. I call it Ump Talk. We probably need to start a separate show called Ump Talk. Uh,
Hey,
but why cheap masculinity never works is the war cry. And you know, I talked about a guy named Roy. I can't think of his name. The Hill guy. I can't think of his name. Eddie Hill.
right.
And we're still operating under this old paradigm, like the 1950 paradigm called love, but also we're operating under this nonsense that just because your skin color is black, then you're supposed to give your undying loyalty and devotion. What's wrong with that in your opinion, man? Go ahead.
Well, I think the fundamental things is not this consideration of how the world has changed and how society has changed, especially when it comes to the programming of men and women. If you're programming women not to abide by the rules and structure of that old social contract, and you're to be focused on self, prioritize self, um, what's important for them in their life, and there's no type of um, expectation. Like you're putting these masculine burdens of expectations, but there's nothing on the female side that's matching those obligations or expectations. You
Mm-hmm.
have a one gender that's basically designed and being programmed to be this disposable, usable tampon, basically, the way I've described it. The other gender just can be selfish and live life and do whatever the hell they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just there as a safety net,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what's sad about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, you have been in America for a long time, but you have Caribbean descent from Bahamas. Um, and you know, this false notion that people are unified and just because your skin color is black, you're supposed to go out of your way. What do you think about the Eddie Ray Hill, the man that lost his life, man, trying to defend a woman because she was black? What would you tell your sons? I mean, I don't always have a loaded question. But number one, what did you think about the Eddie Ray Hill situation? That's number one. And then number two, what do you tell your sons about giving their masculinity away for free? Because I've always said this peaceful life, and I stand on it. Masculinity is expensive, and cheap masculinity never benefits defective women. What's your take on that? On those
Well,
three things? Go ahead.
well, the biggest thing about it is that first of all, condolences to the family. I mean, it's a tragedy and tragic loss, and we don't want to see none of that ever happen. And that's why me and you put so much effort into this content, into these spaces. But the greatest tragedy is that, that man's life, he sacrificed it. The women that are condemning men and saying that men are basically useless and men don't protect women are the same women within a week will forget about everything that he's done, his sacrifices,
Yep.
and will go back into the mindset of shaming men and buying into this social or programmed narrative
Right.
of men as the enemy of women or the abusers of women.
Mm-hmm.
And his sacrifices will go in vain because he's robbed his family, he's robbed his kids, he's robbed everybody that loves him and cares about him of his presence, his provision, his protection, to protect an absolute stranger that will not even remember him when this is all over and will he be completely forgotten. The people that have demonized his existence just for being a man will not appreciate it. So you're sacrificing your life. Look, I can't say why it would happen because a lot of men have daughters and they're kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place. But
Right.
this idea that men are supposed to protect strangers outside of the realm of their protection, their community, like my neighbor's wife or your wife or our kids and the people that are close to us or bonded to us that we know the history of these people. Like we owe these duties and these obligations to a society who has told us that gender is a construct or masculinity is toxic until it's time to use it for their own benefit and purposes.
Right.
Now it's okay. This idea of masculinity on their terms, but there's no social obligation that obligates women to show men a certain type of respect. And we talk about all this time.
Right.
Responsibility without authority, responsibility without respect, responsibility without dignity, and even humanity.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. And the reason why I did this, I'm having this conversation is that static blackness is destroying a lot of men. This man put his life on the line because,
Right.
this dumb trope that she was a black woman. And what I'm trying to convey is that there's always been intertribal and
Right.
intertribal and intratribal conflict. It's nothing new. Hold tight. But what's your take on that? It's an outdated model that we still call up in this broad umbrella that just because your skin color is black, you got to serve a community, because that was called an ally. That's when we
Right.
had to
Right.
be allies. Men. Listen, when you think about America, when America was fighting, at one point the Germans were allies with the Americans, and the Americans had issues with the Brits.
Right.
But then it flipped in 1942. The Germans, and I believe America and the Brits became allies along with the Russians and the Polish, I believe, and the Germans and somebody else were allies against America. So it's an old paradigm. It's an old paradigm. I'm strongly I'm solely convinced that it's not a lot, it's not all, but I would argue that a large percentage of American women in the West, white or black, but especially the American black women, many of them, they're no longer part of our tribe. How would you respond to that?
I totally agree. And what's even more disturbing is the men that are pushing this old narrative, especially you see in the Dave Ramsey situation.
Oh yeah,
He's coming on.
Right.
Dave Ramsey. You got what's the guy's name? Scott Galloway's, the Steve Harveys of this world. And we got a whole army of jellyback pandering simp men still talking to young men about these masculine duties and expectations of a world, of an environment where masculinity is viewed different until stuff hits the fan and they need men to defend them or protect them. I call it disposable tampon,
Right.
But, I program my sons to be self-preservative in terms of I protect the people who care about you, protect your loved ones, protect the things that value you.
Right.
But this idea of this, this general obligation that you owe your life to strangers is the absolute disastrous situation for men, especially the modern men. And these individuals like the Dave Ramseys, the Scott Galloways, are trying to hold men to this social contract that feminism has destroyed. They were arguing before this last administration the very idea of what a man is. You're challenging the notion of what a man is, and now all of a sudden everybody talk about manhood and what men's supposed to be. But everything they talk about with manhood and masculinity is always about what benefits them and what men need to be doing for them.
Right.
They never talk about what men should be receiving, what men should be getting, how men should be treated in any regards. And they don't even talk about the standards for which women should be to be worthy of getting the things that they demand. None of that conversation is being had.
Yeah. That fundamentally goes back to the violation of the social contract. And as a licensed therapist, you gotta ask for something in return in order to get something. If you give your masculinity away for cheap, it's equivalent to a woman giving her body away without asking anything in return. At least a 304 expects to be paid if she give her body away. But I would argue that a lot of American men have been holed out because they're expected to give their time, money, resources, and attention for women that never give them anything back in return. As I'm continuing to play this, I'm gonna ask you about why men must start their own new tribe. Why they need to start a new tribe. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But hold tight. All right, so it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Patriots. These are European agitators. You had the British monarchy on the left, and you had the white American patriots on the right. Some black men fought also like Christmas addicts, but they weren't from the same tribe because there was intertribal conflict. There was conflict of
Right.
some sort. The conflict now is that feminism has told women that they are better than men, that they are superior to men, that men offer nothing. And because of that conflict, men got to stop putting their livelihood, putting their lives on the line, and giving to women that have not been trained to respect and honor men. But as you guys are watching or seeing, is that uh, intertribal conflict supersedes skin color. Intertribal conflict or intratribal conflict supersedes skin color. And I would argue the problem is wrong with too many men today is that they don't know what their power and their worth is, man. What do you think about that? Go ahead.
Well, they don't know what their power and their worth is. And obviously, because of certain biological motivations and drives, um, in a construct that's been, or a situation that's been set up that overvalues women, they feel like a lot of men are really, that haven't been raised properly or raised in a masculine environment, operate from a position of low self-esteem and scarcity. And that's the fundamental disadvantage in the programming. Like, you don't know better unless you've seen better. And we talk about all the time about global travel and seeing the world and seeing your value. Because you can tell men all day long what their value is, but until they get outside the box and move around the world and see other cultures, that doesn't mean that there's anything special about certain women overseas or whatever else. But a society that's not overly micromanaged by government and systems in place that try to elevate one gender so much above the other, and where masculinity is trying to you're trying to exist in an environment that is highly gynocentric. Gynocentrism is a serious problem because, again, it inflates the value of something that, if you go to other countries and other cultures and other places in the world where people are not just government empowered, and you see the value of things, your mind cannot you cannot unsee what you see. You walking down the beach in Rio, or down somewhere in Thailand, or somewhere in Malaysia, or other ways, whatever, and you're a Western man, or you're a man in general, and you get to see your value as a man, it's hard to erase that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult to explain that to the young men.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is a lot of them feel this urgency to take such bad deals, bad
Yeah.
situations. It's just based out of pure scarcity.
Yep. Yep. You're right. Hold tight. So this goes back to what I was saying about the axis of power. One of the things I want to convey about war. Um, Tribalism has nothing to do with skin color. It's all about conflict. Crips and Bloods are black, but it's conflict, intra-tribal conflict.
Yeah.
World War I from 1914 to 1988 were Europeans fighting against other Europeans. The British fighting against the Americans. No different than the Revolutionary War. During World War II, it was the Americans fighting against Germany. So my point is that just because you have black skin, don't mean you have to be of the same cause. Do you see where I'm going at?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah. Just because you have black skin, don't mean you have to be of the same cause. Let me show you something else that a lot of people forget and don't understand. The two largest Indian wars in America was the American Indian War from the 18th to the mid 19th century, the Pontiac War of 1763, Northeast West Indian Wars, the Tusculum War of 1811, the Black Heart War, and the Comanche War. Indians helping white men defeat other Indians. Do you see where I'm going at? But see,
Yes.
when Indians have done it, all ethnic groups have either been help white men, or white men fall against one another, or black men fall against one another. But when I hear some conservatives, even though I'm conservative, say, "Well, your own people sold you into slavery," that's a myth. Because if that's the case, then do we say that these different Indian tribes were the same tribal people. They weren't the same tribal people. The Sioux were totally different than the Comanches or the Cherokees. They were red men, they were Indians, but they didn't have the same beliefs and the same ideology. Scouts, interpreters, allies in battle, treaties in politics, supply and protection. The Sioux War of 1862 to 1890. They were Native American Indians aligning themselves with Europeans to subjugate other Indians. No different than what Africans did. Do you see where I'm going at?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So
But
what's your take on that? Go ahead.
I think you're correct, absolutely correct. And what happens inevitably is, I think the powers that be systematically, the motivation behind a lot of this is economic, political, in terms of controlling certain populations for voting and power. Especially you deal with the Black community, it's very easy to manipulate the women, and the women have gotten addicted to power.
Yep.
And you talked about power never surrendering without a struggle. They're not going to give up that power. So even if they're in a position to subjugate the men, they're not going to give that up. So they've constructed that for the purpose of manipulating that particular population for votes. And in terms of all the other communities, white community, they give women power because women do 80% plus of the shopping and they vote. So it's a manipulated process because they want to fuel economics, they want to fuel the economy. And if you empower women a certain way, not just from a labor perspective, but from a spending perspective, the man can't tell her to stop spending in that house because she runs the roost and his life is being designed around her life. She tells him what to do. She tells him, I'm going to spend some money on this credit card. I'm going to run up these. You're going to have to, I can't drive this car. It's an embarrassment. And now he's spending money, which fuels the lifestyles and the living of those people at the top of the food chain.
Yep.
A society where the average man has no control of his household is a very profitable world and profitable environment for those that are a part of the ruling class. So I think systematically we're being programmed it goes beyond race. White men, Black men, all men that live under this gynocentric system are, when you see people that are conservative, used to be conservative like Dave Ramsey, saying the most asinine simp crap out of his mouth, you know that the system itself has been compromised. The church itself has been turned into nothing more than a nesting ground for covert feminists and Christian feminists trying to manipulate themselves into a marriage after abusing the word of Jesus and God and the church and everything else. So we have a situation now where programming men a certain way and how it's infiltrated every aspect of our society. And now with the young men, Gen Z especially, turning more conservative, there's a serious problem that they find in it because they can't brainwash them as easy as they used to before because of people like you and me and many of them in the chat. It's not hard. It's hard to brainwash these Gen Zs anymore.
Yeah, right. And a lot of men, the name calling, the shaming language, men are becoming. They just laugh at it, man. They just laugh at it, man. And so that's why I said that Black men men in general got to start recalibrating how they think, and say just because you have Black skin, it doesn't mean you're a woman. You're not a woman. So the American Indian Wars, you see it, man. Native Americans fighting against white men or fighting against the Confederacy, but at the same time, other Indians helping the cavalry capture other Indians. And that's how men got to start thinking. We got to get out of this static blackness just because your skin is Black. Then you got to walk with us and you got to protect the community. Listen, I've always said before, once again, Peaceful Life, the women that are women are the women that are going to honor us, to respect us, and follow our leadership. The ones that don't, we're not going to do it on your terms. Now, what are you seeing in the dating market that you didn't see maybe 20, 40 years ago? That's number one. And then number two, when did you have your epiphany about masculinity being cheap?
Well, I had it a long time ago. I'd say in the 90s, really, just watching the different relationship structures and how many of the men who got married under the old system, thinking that because we've been programmed a certain way, that this is what we're supposed to do, the right thing.
Right.
and how the women they were being programmed basically to strong, independent, and run the roost. So I saw the problems that happen in a relationship where we have women that were just basically rebelling against men's leadership and authority. But I mean, the second part of your question, can you repeat that again? I'm sorry, man, to make sure I answer that.
Yeah, I think I was saying that when did you come to your epiphany, man, that you had to make
I I came to my epiphany, but I would think it's in the 90s, and most of it is by when you get into relationships and marriages and you're experiencing it from the inside out, you really realize the imbalances in nature where you're literally fighting against a culture to maintain some type of to keep your family on the right track, um, to do the right things in terms of raising your kids the way how you think that they should be raised, and there's challenges that come to your leadership as a man within that house, within from society, the distractions and all those things. And I think that happened to me more so in the 90s while I was following the social program or that image that we had been programmed to believe what family life was about, what masculinity was about, certain things you should be doing as a man. And when you do those things, you understand that you're going to get a tremendous amount of pushback in life. And the support that you should be getting many times don't come for a lot of men. But that gave me my wake up call in the 90s. But since then, you know what I mean? When I look at the modern dating and relationship dynamics today, and I've said it before in many of my video, marriage today is the last stop on the sexual liberation rail lines. The men today that are getting married are getting the women at their worst. After they've focused on their careers, after they've had fun with the basketball, football team, after they've had multiple men. So the guy that's getting married today might be guy number 20, number 10, number 40, number 45, number 50. So, and marriage today for most men have become nothing more than a humiliation ritual. If you're seen by all the simps getting embarrassed, the big muscular guy who lifted weights, what's his name? One in Dubai he's getting divorced now. You're seeing the comedian sing. You're seeing all these guys, when these women open their mouth, you see the type of beta male simp relationships that they have with these women where their masculinity has been completely compromised. So marriage today for men is, I always say, you're basically you're getting unless not all men, because some men get to pick that which is hasn't been how would I say it in a nice way, that hasn't been thoroughly sampled by the market. But the majority of men is usually, especially now, what's worse now is because of the economics of the situation, they just can't go get ran through by that thug anymore. They're starting to look for, we saw with Afro Tech, we talk about it. They're starting to look for that guy they wouldn't date when they were 21 and 22. So I see an environment of exploitation. And then I see an environment where they're, I always say Klay Thompson was hope, and they took away that hope. And now what they're doing is doubling down on religion. They have turned the church into a refreshing rebuilding center where they're rebuilding their virtues and they're charging marriage MSRP. So they're trying to go after the men they wouldn't date when they were 21. They really don't like them, but it's like a money grab out here today because of the economy, because of inflation, because of the way things are going in society, because of the loss of government empowerment, because of the loss, that ability to depend on government to fund you or to pay for these basket leaving degrees is gone. And then now the last thing that's left is men. The
only thing left is men, and a lot of guys I begin to realize that their masculinity is too expensive. You still got some simps out here, but yeah, it's bad that Dave Simp Ramsey did what he did, because Dave Simp Ramsey used to always say,
goodness.
"You don't even." He said, "I remember Dave Ramsey used to say, you don't even co-sign for a family member." So if I don't co-sign for blood, what makes you think I'm gonna co-sign for a woman that's not even my wife yet?
Oh, you
You know,
remember the debt thing? What is it? That 90 or 100,000 only
yeah,
in
yeah,
debt?
right. $90,000 debt thing, man.
Man, Dave, I don't know. That makes me think though how much these guys have been compromised, and even the church, man. I'm telling you, man, the conservative cuck it's the new phenomenon, the new standard right now. Where these guys, you can't trust like old institution that used to be held up standards and values and morals because we got so many ran through women, we got too many women that have been single moms and everything else like that. And because of the money, like they can't afford to get these women angry because the women won't come to church anymore. They'll stop paying. And it's like they're walking on eggshells to appease and pander to women and park morality, in the back door. Like they don't preach the gospel. They preach the gospel as it appeals to sugarcoating life for women. I mean, making women feel easy, making them feel comfortable. Because all you have to do is talk about men all day long and beat them down.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, the real CP show. I asked you, brother Casey, against Kamala would have been selected. Yeah, it definitely would have been more. They probably had me a piece of life in dresses, man.
Come on, man.
If she hadn't been president. But it just proves my point that what made black folks one tribe in the past was struggle.
Right.
These women are of their own now. They do what they want to do, and fine, let them do what they want to do. Somebody said, "Let sleeping dog, let these horses run free." I know you said that piece of life before in the past. I don't know if you said it or Coach Greg or both of y'all said it, but
well, I
let
said
them
it.
run
Coach
free.
Greg said it too. But
Yes,
you have
sir.
no choice now because unless a guy and like I said before, guys got to get at some point comfortable with taking none of the above as an option when they have bad deals on the table. Sit this one out until the deals get better, or use relationship capitalism to go get something else.
Mhm.
And we would talk about that concept. You don't have to take a bad deal. Men can take no deals
Mhm.
and sit this shit out. Excuse my language, but sit it out for 5 years. Let them figure this stuff out. And what happens now, like I said, they're uncomfortable and they're nervous now, but they're still talking about relationships on their term. So they're still arrogant. Because like you said, we have an infestation of simps, panderers, and all these types of men that are just pandering to them. You got the internet that gives a certain amount of attention and validation. And like I said, we're dealing with the simp army that's slowly, because what happens is this, in my opinion, you can pander and simp all you want, but if a woman can't afford to pay her bills, that pandering and simp not gonna last too long.
Yeah. I totally agree, man. You're right.
Yeah.
Let me show you something. Hold on.
We make it day before we see it. You take it. Oh, make you wanna holler when it do.
Want to save your life and peace of mind? Here's why compromise masculinity can never save defective women. Because this might happen. One sentence from this woman sent the internet into a war after she said this about black men. Why she's not your sister.
What happened to men just shedding and going to work? Every time. It's a podcast. It's a meme. It's a stream. Take y'all ass to work.
Think about how disrespectful this woman is, man. Think about telling grown men, take your A to work. Look, I'm not endorsing violence, but let me say this. This woman would have had her jaw broken in other countries, man, or probably would have lost her life. You would never have the power to talk to a man, be that disrespectful to a man in other cultures, in other countries. They become so emboldened that not only do they talk slick, but the infrastructure, the civil engineers that built this world, they give them no respect.
Right.
And then when I show these videos and I show the disrespect, I'm the bad guy for responding to it, man. But hold on, let me finish playing this clip and I'm gonna let you respond to it. Hold tight.
Y'all talk too damn much about nothing. About how y'all ain't giving the woman the fucking money. We don't want to hear it, okay? We don't want to hear it. Okay, you broke. We got it. Like, please. I'm tired of the think pieces. I'm tired of it. Damn, just be quiet.
Can you imagine? A woman telling a grown man to be quiet. Go ahead. Give me your input on that.
Well, when I see videos like that, I consider it the fact that the men have won. And the reason why is what I'm saying. What we focus on what women say, because women are good at poker face many times on the internet. And what I see is an individual that probably cries herself to sleep at night.
Right.
You know, so when we and you know, as a therapist, you know even better than me. When you look beyond what she's saying, is the opposite of what she's saying.
Right. That's called reaction formation. Right. It's called
There you
reaction
go.
formation. That's what it's called.
What she's saying is, you dudes have blocked up and broke up. Y'all have blocked my scam. I can't go to the church no more and get me a sucker sim. Bless you, brother.
Thank you.
These dudes are not dating me anymore. They're not paying for my crap. They're not marrying me and I'm getting old. They're not giving up their resources for me. They're not doing anything for me. So a person like that is probably on medication, in my opinion. I'm guessing. And they're probably not sleeping very well because of guys like us, and because guys, young men today, and men in general, are not giving them what they want. The men that they want are not giving them the men that the things that they want. Shame has failed, you know, and they have no incentive to offer men. They have nothing to offer men except heavily, vigorously, and viciously pounded out used box. That woman is on the end of the rope. She's desperate. So it's just like, remember when we talked about it, right? The women with broke shaming men. What they're doing is they're hoping to catch a man with low self-esteem that's going to say, if the guy with low self-esteem is going to respond to her like this, oh, we got money, we'll show you. And he'll go out there and spend money on some chicken heads to prove his manhood and his masculinity. But it's reverse psychology. And when you use the term, the term you just used to describe what she's doing, it is psychological manipulation. It's like the chicks that go to church right now. The whole goal is to hold the religious shotgun to men's backs and get these men to pay marriage MSRP for their mismanaged youth.
Yep.
They mismanaged their youth. They used the product, they put it back in the box, and they took it to the church and had the pastor take up the box and put a brand new price on it. They're trying to basically manipulate men into spending money, into marrying them, and they can't stand the fact that a peaceful life is dropping the hammer every day on them. They're not getting what they want. So they can cry themselves to sleep all they want. A peaceful life, when he sees videos like that, I just increase the torque. All you're telling me is what I'm doing is working. What you're doing is working. Give them more of what they don't like.
Yep. Give them more of what they don't like, and it's working, man. Guys are becoming so indifferent, man.
Well, there's no incentive. There's no incentive. And we talk about Klay Thompson with the PNC. When that dude finally got that PNC regret, you see that 1,000-yard stare in his eyes, and there's no incentive. There's no incentive. Once he rode that stallion, and he started calculating in his mind the cost that the price when he got away. He said the juice ain't worth the squeeze, Coach. He's like, I got to get up out of this one. I don't care what I got to do. I don't care if I got to create an affair. I got to get the hell up out of this situation here. And Klay he did anything he could to get away from this broad, because again, he realized that I got to be tied to her. Hell no. And Klay had no business going down there sampling them stallions. He needs to stay his ass in the suburbs where he belongs.
Yep.
He ain't never business down there.
And she thought it was going to be I guess she thought it was going to be another Sierra story, man. But the internet, these conversations, man, is giving men, it's awakening a lot of men up. And a lot of folks don't like it. They don't like the fact that men are beginning to wake up and begin to live their lives on their own terms. They don't like it. And listen, there's not really a clear delineation of peaceful life between the 304s from the hood and the educated women. Even the educated woman 304. You heard about the judge that was getting.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't gotten into that story, but go ahead. Go ahead and elaborate, brother. My story about the judge.
Yeah. Actually, I'll play them in the whole time. Let me finish playing this video. Yeah, the judge, she's a 304. Shout out to my man in the National Quiet Storm.
Hey, salute
He
to
says
my brother. Quiet
she
Storm,
has
man.
been eating too much of that wig.
Well, yeah. But hey, I want to say this too, man. What men gotta understand that there's two versions of women.
Right.
There's the women that you see all day long mouthing off, and then there's the women that when the dark comes. When the dark comes, the darkness brings out the truth.
Yep.
And when they're alone by themselves, that's when the antidepressants come out. That's when reality hits them. That mouthing off, what they say is nothing more than a pump fake.
Yep, pump faking.
The truth about them is when they're alone in the dark, that's when their lips start quivering and them tears start coming and they start looking for the Coach Conditions email. I know that guy, he said some stuff with a peaceful life, but I better call him up. Maybe he has the answers to this pain.
Shout out to my man, free agent ATL for that $2. Appreciate it, brother.
Hey, salute, brother. Appreciate this. Hey, guys, please support the channel support independent content, gentlemen. Keep these independent channels going. You can send the Kosher Condition a Cash App, a Super Chat. You want to support, keep this content independent, support the channel, gentlemen. Appreciate all your support.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Go check out Peaceful Life too, guys. Make sure y'all support that good brother. He's doing some good work.
Yeah, but they on some you talking about some pain? Man, there's pain out here.
And Paul Edom said, and I agree with Paul, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. That's why, I'm sending this one out, man. I could care less. Usher said, "Let it burn."
Yeah, but we're also brothers like you and me. We're dealing with the virus itself, which is males' low self-esteem.
Right.
And that is changing the environment because, like you said, men respond to incentives. You can shame a man all day long, but there ain't nothing at the end of that rainbow other than some pre-owned that the women are actively selling nowadays. It really ain't much to be motivated about. And we saw, like I said, the guys who have had that PNC pain. Right. And guys know that, hey, look, these relationships are not lasting because what happens is these women have been raised to be self-centered, selfish, and focus on themselves. And the relationship is all about them. Mm-hmm. So they really haven't been raised to pour into men or offer men value. And after a while, a man starts looking at his wallet and you start realizing, he goes on empty, that testosterone is worn down, and he starts listening to her, and she starts talking, and then he starts, feeling betrayed by what's downstairs. He starts looking at it at night and he develops a anger with that testosterone that drove him to make this to make these decisions. I don't say could it be so? I mean, you're a therapist. Could a man grow to resent his own how would I say, his own phallus?
well, if you deal with Kendra G, because Kendra G said she the prize. She said, Kendra G said, I'm gonna see if I can find it.
A man resent his own phallus.
Right. When she said she's the prize. Because she had to make money and she can't deal with men that got little penises or some mess. But I feel so sorry for that help. This is for you, Peaceful. Like, go ahead and read that, brother.
I mean, salute to my brother, man. Brian Espada. Salute, my brother. Thank you, gentlemen, for what you all do. It's because of men like y'all. Young men have the insight and the wisdom to navigate this wicked world. Ty, salute, my brothers. But I think that's what's going on right now. A lot of men, remember back in, I'm not saying you, because I know you're a spiritual brother, religious brother. And I'm saying that there used to be a code where guys would send the other man 911. Basically, they got into some stuff that they're not supposed to be gotten into.
Right. And
they need you to call their phone and say that their mama is sick or something. And I think a lot of those calls are coming in nowadays, guys getting out of some situation, because we've basically had a female population that have literally been raised to be loads and not help men, not be an asset to a man. Mm-hmm. So now you have brothers going through some serious. I think some brothers be forced to go into monk mode because of that.
Yeah.
They just sit 3 months off, take 3 months off, and sit this one out right there. And they just go
Yeah.
to the gym, work, save their money. It just the PNC is too painful nowadays.
Yeah, it is too painful. Shout out to my man, the International Quiet Storm, him and my brother Ray Johnson, showing love, man. I call them the West. Hold on, I gotta play a little sound clip for them,
Yeah,
the West Coast homies, man. I gotta play a little sound clip. Give me a minute, peaceful life.
good.
I got I gotta play a sound clip for the West Side homies. Hold on. Shout out to Quiet Storm and my man Ray Johnson, the West Side homies, for that $25 cash out.
I'm a rock star in real life. We was doing Grand Theft Autos, hitting licks, home invasions. It was a good night. Take the goods to the plug, then he bring us back by 2K. Feeling like a baller, see the Jordan on my shoelace. Nuketown, stepping off buses, hopping on fences. Call of Duty, me and my niggas, we in the trenches. Camping at the crib, playing True Crime LA. Santa Dre's nice, bumping Ice Cubes, good days. Such a
Shout out to my man Quiet Storm and brother Ray from the West Coast.
Hey, salute, my brothers.
And they're the #1 sponsors of the stream. I really appreciate it, guys. Don't let those guys be the only brothers donating as me and Peaceful Life break this thing down. Hold tight. Shout out to those two guys that they're the #1 sponsor. Man, my eyes are looking like Cookie Monster trying to find this. Trying
What's
to find
that? No, I'm saying, like, we got to talk about this, man. Men are going through some scheme afflictions right now.
We're going to a lot of scheme afflictions.
But I'm thinking, like I said, I think it's phallus resentment, PNC regret, and it's just sadness sometimes when you had hope and you think you found something good and you sample it, and then the honeymoon phase go and you start seeing the reality of what you really got.
He said you want to piece.
Hey, salute! I appreciate the International Quiet Storm. That's my brother, man. He's his own membership on the channel, man. Salute, man. Always supporting, man.
Always, man.
Always
Brother been a ride or die, man. Good brother. I got number love for that brother, man.
Yeah.
He been riding with me for years, man. And he's a real one, man. He's definitely a real one. Got number love for that brother.
But I was thinking about it too. I mean, never talk about the experiences men are getting from dealing with modern women and that PNC regret. I've heard the brothers like ask about prostates talking about, instead of having PNC, have pre-clarity. But it's hard to have pre-clarity when men have 20 times more testosterone than women.
Right.
And we have this imagination, and that's why I talk about men not living in the past, because in men's mind, this is programmed expectations of what he thinks or what he wants or his wishes or his desires or what he wants to get out of a woman. But when he realized that you're dealing with some, not all, I mean, the majority of them that have just been programmed to be loads. I mean, and really just that they think that the only value that they have to offer a man, or the only thing they have to bring to the table, is something that has been heavily used.
Yep. And the simp revolution is changing. Let me play this clip. I was on Jeff St. James show.
Oh, hey, brother. Oh, that
Shout out to young Jeff.
chilly back down there in the corner.
You talking about you talking about that simp?
You're the one who said reporting to duty for certain individual of a certain community is now telling men.
He wants y'all to report to duty.
And he said, I'm reporting to duty after that comment. That just tells you the sad state of the community when an individual that's on the fringe is telling masculine men, shaming masculine men in the community. That's a sad state.
But this goes back to reaction formation. A lot of times men that project that is because they don't have power.
Yeah.
They don't have power in their own relationships, man.
No.
And so in order to make themselves feel good, to assuage their ego, they gotta verbally macerate other men. They don't have power.
Well, that's saying that sometimes to cover up like a good offense covers up a bad defense. They go on offensive in order to knock men back on their heels by using our own ego and pride against us.
Yep.
When he tries to hijack the topic of masculinity and add his own nuances and try to put in the sense that if you're a real man, you do this, and you're a real man, you do that.
Right.
Everything about
right.
And we talk about this projection that they do when they have no power at home. It's displaced aggression, like you see many times in the community. The males are very aggressive towards other males, but they're scared as hell of the women. They're bitch led. They can't
Yep.
stand under the
Yep.
women. They
Scared
can't.
of them.
So they, I see a guy like that Whitfield guy down here. I can tell right away that he's a bitch led man right off the back, and he's projecting onto other men the power that he doesn't really have.
Yeah.
And even when he talks about leadership, we talk about that.
Yep, that's the reaction formation. Hold tight.
Broken systems. When we have people like David, when we have people like R. Kelly, when we have people like Diddy, I condemn that situation immediately. But I also condemn Clive Davis. I also condemn Leor Cohen. I also condemn Andy Cohen, Scooter Braun, and everybody who is in charge of perpetuating this thug, gangster, nonsensical mythos of black men that becomes the standard as opposed to the exception, while also elevating a soft beta male mangina mentality that does not serve us when it comes to our communities and would not be tolerated in anybody else's community.
Call us black. Then your consciousness is of one thing. I don't associate with some of these dusty Negroes. I don't deal with them because their consciousness is not black. I don't agree with them because I believe that you can't have a black community unless black men are leading their communities. But when you got a generation of women that conspire with liberal white women, they conspire with maladaptive policies. We're in the situation that we're in now because of that. And when things happen, you have these people that have this pro-black ideology. I call it static blackness. And the presumption is that just because your skin color is black, your consciousness got to be black. But here's the problem with that, DJ Hamp. Black people will never want an African. Respectfully. But see, here's the paradox. Here's the paradox with this static blackness or flat blackness, or I call it static blackness. It's a presumption and the assumption that just because your skin color is black, we all belong to the same tribe, and I refute that highly. I will argue parenthetically that there's a percentage of black women that are part of our tribe, but a lot are not part of our tribe. And I agree with Dr. L. I agree with Dave Anderson. I'm saying, you, my brother, I love you, but I'm not taking accountability for that because she's not part of my tribe. The biggest misnomer when it comes down to black folks is that, especially with black men, where black women are in power, then they're a separate entity. But when they're in peril or pain, then black men must come to the rescue. And Obsidian, you killed it, man, on that show. You said, I'm not going to serve for people that don't honor and respect me. And the problem is that when you consistently reward bad behavior by asking black men to undo things that they never done, then it becomes problematic. And instead of reinforcing good behavior, you reinforce bad behavior. Part of a healthy relationship or a functioning relationship is a concept called synergy. You can't have soul fusion if you don't have synergy. But many times in the black community, black men are asked to do unhealthy undoing instead of doing healthy undoing. So the unhealthy undoing. So you and I, Peaceful, talked about undoing when we were talking on the back end. And so healthy undoing, it's like, if I did you wrong, I come to you and say, you know what, Peace, I'm wrong. I take ownership for that because I don't like the guilt associated with being disrespectful to you. But performative masculinity is unhealthy undoing because they're undoing things out of fear and shame, especially instead of doing things out of true altruism. Right. What do you think about that, man? Go ahead.
Well, I've talked about this a lot. We had this conversation where we have in a situation, we have an upside down reality where the tail is wagging the dog. Mm-hmm. So what happens is we have this situation where the unrighteous get to shame the righteous, and they make the righteous bad for doing the right thing. If you're squared away and doing what's right, the mindset, the mentality of this altruist mindset, they're like trying to shame you and think that you're the bad person because you don't want to help people that mismanage their life and that do the wrong things. You don't want to save people from the consequences of their actions, and therefore you're bad and you're a horrible person. You owe these people your life, and you're bad because you do the right thing, and they're just victims because the victim mentality, there's no profit in you not being a victim. It's sold by the race hustlers. It's sold by the politician. It's sold by everybody that wants to control you and extract resources or get the government to sponsor programs that benefit them. They have this mindset, this mentality of shaming those that do the right things and trying to make men especially feel like they're obligated to help people who are doing the wrong, who willingly choose to do the wrong thing. With all the technology and all the information out here, they willingly choose to do the wrong thing. And when they get bad outcome, it's your responsibility. And it's your responsibility to give your life to save them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I have with that whole idea and mindset of the community, because they think that the functional should be sacrificed to save the dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no requirement of that sacrifice. There's definitely no reciprocation.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they want you to have responsibility without authority. Hand over your wealth, your resources, hand over your money, but shut up.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion to give me that would solve my problem, now I'm going to tell you that you are Uncle Tom or a coon or a sellout, or you ain't black, or you ain't this, or you ain't that, or you ain't a man, you ain't a real man. Hand over your resources, your money, sacrifice. Don't set any standard. Be quiet. You know, you owe us, and you're here to rescue us from all of our bad decisions, but keep your mouth closed. Or if you speak off code, they're going to call you your name. And that's that's how they operate. That's how they operate, man. You can't change that.
That's how they operate. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And you're right, because I remember
they're using religion now. See, what happens is, I call it the Klay Thompson failure. Everything is failed. Right. They tried the ego one, where they tried to call you broken dusty to shame you into spending money. And for men that are weak, they're going to go and peacock and spend money. That failed. They tried the
economy is so bad they ain't got the money to spend.
I know, right? They tried to shame us into marriage and shame the money out of guys. That didn't work.
Right.
And then they tried the 304 strategy, which is basically what Meg Thee Stallion tried to do, and Klay Thompson destroyed hope. So now they're going back to the good old. They're going to run religion now. Religion is the last play before they finally break. So what they're going to do is this. They're going to try and religious shame the money out of us. And they're going to try, like when I made the video today about this woman talking about some woman was getting into a situation and no man stepped up to fight. And I basically described the guy who a couple of weeks ago in Texarama, the brother we talked about, that gave his life to a woman, how quickly they forgot him. You see what I'm saying? So no matter his sacrifice, they went back to the strategy of shame and disrespect and whatever else.
Right.
But the reality is that religion is going to be the weapon now, because you can use religion to manipulate weak men to get money out of them, to get resources out of them, to get sacrifice out of them. Because you know that most men, especially in our community around, may have some Christian or religious upbringing. So you're using their conscience and you're saying the Bible or God says you're a bad person if you don't help these people that are irresponsible or created their own problem. You can't judge them. You're supposed to help them.
Right.
You're supposed to accept this woman that is, you're a guy number 45, and you're supposed to forget all of her past.
Right.
Because God has cleansed her of that vigorous and vicious pounding. Right. But if you're a bad person, if you say, look, what she did in the past don't matter.
Right.
She's been born again, revirginated, bathed in the blood of the Lamb. And you're going to have to go ahead and marry that woman with her 2 kids and take care of these single moms and do all this other stuff, because that's the righteous thing to do. And if you reject that, you're an unholy demon.
Right.
And you are against God. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, and listen, man, it is definitely manipulation, man.
It's manipulation. Like
I call it spiritual narcissism. It's definitely manipulation. And listen, can God forgive people? Yes. To God give grace? Yes.
Right.
But man and God is 2 different things. And just because God forgive you from having a sordid past, you don't have to marry a woman like that, because most women ain't gonna marry a man with a sordid past. Now, can you imagine a woman, if this man came to a woman's piece of life and he said, God saved me, I don't do the things I used to do anymore. He said, and he comes to the woman and said, can you love me, forgive me? Right. Because in the past, I used to deal with men's. That woman ain't gonna give him a chance. Hold tight.
Not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more.
I said I like women. If that man comes and say, listen, if that man comes to that woman and say he don't like men's, not men, but men's with a Z no more. He like women. That woman's not gonna give that man a chance. She ain't gonna have no grace for that man for being pounded by other men.
But they coming hard though. They be like, look, if you don't hand over your money, help these people, this church, you going to hell, you demon. You ain't married these 304s.
Right.
These born again 304s, you're a bad man. How dare you judge people? Who are you think you are?
Right.
So really, they're trying everything to get men to hand over their resources to the church, to these women that have mismanaged their youth. Shame. Everything's shame. Not religion. They'll hit you with about 30 scriptures. So that I call it the panhandling attempts to loosen out that wallet out of your back pocket. They hit you with 10 scriptures as to why you need to be doing what you need to be doing and doing more to save these folks that have made poor decisions in their life. And if you don't save them, what a horrible demonic man you are. They think me, a peaceful life, is a demon. They say, how dare you tell these men not to save these 304s?
Right. Well, like I said earlier in the show, man, they want to keep charging. They want to charge men the whole tax, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Give me 1 minute. They want to keep charging.
They're going hard in the paint, though. They're going hard in the paint, man.
Right. Shout out to my man Hashin Shabazz with that 5. Hold on for a minute. Hold on. Healthy undoing is an ego defense mechanism that says that I did Dave wrong, so therefore I'm going to go to him as a man and apologize. I did Jeff wrong. I'm going to go to him as a man and apologize. But unhealthy undoing is a psychopathology where black men are told to undo something they never done. And that's dangerous because, see, I've always said, Jeff, and the panel, that we got a generation of defective women and compromised men. And when you have defective women and compromised men, what happens? Men don't get power, they lose power. Here's the paradox with this static blackness or flat blackness. I'll call it static blackness. It's a presumption and the assumption that just because. So this is the deal now. You and I talked about something years ago, Peaceful Life. Right. And you came up with a concept called relationship capitalism. I came up with a term called hoflation. I had never heard the word hoflation. Years later, I heard other people saying that. But about 4 years ago, I talked about hoflation. And so the whole tax is the tax that a woman charged a solid dude like your son,
right?
After she had all her fun.
Right.
And she's singing that song by Dorothy on the Wizard of Oz, talking about Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'm gonna do a show called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. She's singing that song by Dorothy on the Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. She's trying to find a simp now after she had all her fun.
Right.
And so she want to charge your son a solid dude and your other son the whole tax. But then when you try to charge when your boy said, well, where's the lady tax at? Then she gets mad. So your boys make good choices. No hoes, no baby mama drama, focus, discipline, build his legacy of being financially free. You're doing a great job teaching your boys from the conversation that we've had. You've been doing an excellent job. But the whole tax said, after she had all her fun, been liberated to do what she want to do, why aren't you spoiling me anymore? I deserve designer everything. Your time is my time. When they say that, that they're at the table. Commit or somebody else will. Never enough, always demand. What do you think about that, man?
Oh, I think it's absolute ridiculous foolishness. And again, fundamentally, we've gotten to the point in this culture where we have these expectations of manhood and masculinity in terms of the social contract that's gone. These are what you're supposed to do. But the idea is that we don't challenge women to be worthy. Are they worthy of any of the things that they ask? And that question alone is offensive.
It is offensive
to them because they're like, well, how dare you misogynist, or you whatever, you bald-headed, whatever.
You bald-headed, old, shriveled up penis.
Right. And then they go, then when next thing you know, they launch because they can't answer this question on a logical perspective as to why is marriage the last stop on the sexual liberation rail lines. So what they will do is hit me with the Jesus sword. They'll attack me with about 10 scriptures. So they'll try and challenge my morality and my value system, and they'll use religion. Because what happens now with the church and with Christianity is all sins are forgiven that repent of the sin and, come forth and accept God and accept Jesus and the teachings of the Bible. So in their mind, what God has cleansed and God has accepted, who are you to not give me what I want, which is
right.
unlimited access to your resources? I want to walk down the aisles in that white dress, even though you're guy number 45. And you're supposed to provide for me, you're supposed to protect me, and you're supposed to pay 100% of the bills. And even though you're a guy number 45 and I've had 2 kids by another man and all that stuff, and that really don't matter no more because I prayed about this and I've been forgiven.
Well. Listen. What they fail to understand is this: the scriptures, but the scripture also said, "Be careful that God is not mocked, and what a man soweth, that's what he shall also reap." So can God forgive a woman? Yes. Will that woman go to heaven? Yes. But the wrath of man is not the same as the wrath of God. And just because God forgive a woman, you still gonna reap what you sow. You can be born again. When Paul killed other Christians and took their lives, Paul still had to reap the reputation of being a murderer. So just because God forgave you, it still don't mean you're not going to deal with the stigma of being a 304. And that's what they don't understand. But that's called scapegoating Jesus. They use Jesus as a scapegoat because their ego don't like the feeling of rejection. Women don't like being rejected, man. Men get rejected every day. But no competent man in his right mind, if he made good choices, want a woman that had a bunch of fun, and in her latter years think she can settle down with a quality man. Because listen, back in the day, the standard was wife ready, no kids, and virgin. That was the standard. That's what my daddy got. I'm sure that's what your dad got.
Well, you just for your statement alone, you'll be hit with about 30 scriptures right there and be called a heathen, a bald-headed, gray-bearded heathen too, from a heathen therapist. That's what you are. How dare you speak blasphemy against what God has ordained? That's what they'll call you. They call you a heathen, brother. How dare you not give these women what they want? And the sent pastor, get out there too and tell them what a terrible man you are. Because you're not speaking to forgiveness. And again, who told you, Mr. Kosher, that these beautiful queens are not deserving of a hard-working, squared-away, honorable man making 6 figures or whatever else? They're going to give you a piece of their mind. I'm be surprised they put 30 comments down below the screen and tell them what a terrible human being you are for not uplifting men living righteously and marrying these retired 304s.
But back in the past, Dr. Rand Terabin talked about it. Dr. Rand Terabin talked about women wanting to be ladies, treated as ladies, but while still being 304. I don't really like people using that word lady, because a lady is a woman of high moral character. A lady is somebody that if she haven't always made a good choice, she's striving. So we call women ladies that are not ladies. They're not ladies. And the majority of them, they're not fit for marriage. And it's okay. I mean, a lot of men are not fit for marriage because they don't know how to lead. And they let women get away with murder. Yeah. They don't get away with murder, man.
I guess the idea alone of a woman have to be fit and qualified for marriage is offensive in the current environment that we live in.
Right. I agree.
You'll be considered a misogynist for suggesting that women are to be worthy or earn or be fit for marriage. And that's how low we've gotten.
Yep. And guess what? I don't see it getting any better in our lifetime, man. I don't. Do you? I don't see it getting no better in our lifetime.
I think with the way the world is, the way the society is going now economically, right now we've reduced to 2 strategies, which is relationships on their terms and simp fishing, and also using religion, weaponizing religion. So I think we're in a point of desperation now.
Right.
And I think you give it another, because we're dealing with automation, we're dealing with AI, even though some things they are not working out, where jobs themselves are not going to be easy to come by. And these corporations and agencies, they don't have to abide by DEI anymore.
Yep.
So they can hire who they want. So inflation is here. Right now, we're seeing economic duress and political fear because the political system is not working in their favors. And Gen Z young men are not participating in terms of just simping out on these women. So we have a lot of structural situation, but the arrogance is going to be here. We still got a bunch of simps. And I think you give it about a decade or so, and I think you'll see a completely different, how would I say, a more humble individual, especially if these programs don't return. Because it's the government that gives the government fueled the arrogance. But right now, the government is not doing that. So they're nervous now. So they're going through withdrawal. And then you see a lot of them showing up in places like Vietnam and Thailand and all this place looking for a new beginning. But eventually, they're going to have to come back to men. And that's why I say the most endangered species right now is that guy they wouldn't date for they were 21. Simpfish.
Yep, the simp fish. Right, yeah. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the last man standing, man.
No,
That's a horrible situation, man. If you made good choices your whole life, man, and you're the last man standing. So before I let you go, I'm about to end this, man. I'm about to go walking, man. I'm gonna call you once I get off, man. But why cheap masculinity never works. What role do you feel like that these men's spaces have had on helping men evolve, man? I think it's helping. I think it's helping, man. I everywhere I look, they saying that men are that I hear. I listened to Paul Elam the other night on Jeff St. James show, and then I've heard others say in the past when I had Dr. Helen Smith, she said that they're not even on strike no more. they just go. They're not even striking no more. They just go. Right? Go ahead.
No, I think the men's spaces have been excellent in terms of really just showing men the truth about what we're dealing with in the current culture in terms of the options men have for relationship and what men are really just sharing their experiences. And also, too, there's never been that kind of pushback against the social programming that men were just riding as droids. So a lot of men you talk about is suffering silence, but they don't have shared experience. They don't have men that are like us, older men or men with experience that are sharing, this thoughts, or they've done so much to attack masculinity and manhood that a lot of the young men or men in general have been confused. They felt their back was against the wall. They had to live and deal with certain situations. The point is that at the end of the day, what these women are offering to men is so insufferable and undesirable as relationships or marriage or whatever else, that we are confirming what men are experiencing in the culture. They're experiencing the disrespect. They're experiencing the arrogance. They're experiencing the dehumanization. They're in the church and they're listening to the pastor on Wednesday and Sunday talking about men's duties, men's responsibilities, what men are supposed to be for women. But he never preaches about what women's supposed to be, what's women's worthiness for marriage, what women's supposed to be. Right. And that's why a lot of men left the church, because the pastor sold his soul for money. Mm-hmm. And constantly, from the attitudes to mentalities of the women in the dating pool, the arrogance, the entitlements, the disrespect, the radical feminist ideologies, the men themselves is basically asking themselves the fundamental question: what am I getting out of this deal? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get cooperation. I'm not going to get respect. And I'm not going to get a woman that hasn't been ran through. So at the end of the rainbow, what is it? There's no incentive. And the young men respond to incentive. And then the idea of marriage itself and the family, not just from the economic perspective and the cost of living and inflation, but marriage itself today, and they look at the experience of marriage men, the laws themselves, but not only that, marriage has become a humiliation ritual for most men, where married men, because they're getting the last pick of, they're being laughed, becoming, for women that would not date them if they were 21, they get in a relationship with these men, and it becomes a humiliation ritual where these women are getting on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, making their husbands look like the absolute weakest, emasculating them in public, disrespecting them, where they have made a mockery out of the institution of marriage. And these young men are saying, I don't want to be that guy over there. I don't want to be Homer Simpson. I don't want to be, what's the comedian name? Sing. The guy who, Larry Wheels. I don't want to be a laughing stock of marriage has become a humiliation ritual.
Mhm.
So the young men have nothing to look forward to. A life of having their balls clipped, put in a jar, hitting the cabinet behind the peas and rice, asking their wife, can they go out on the weekend and hang with the fellas? These men walking around, the simp relationship, the Boyce Watkins, the Steve Harveys of the world, these emasculated men walking around with clip balls. It's an infestation. They see their uncles, their simp uncles, getting led around, bossed around, mistreated by women, disrespected, working their whole life, going in the grave early, without nothing, no respect, no dignity. And they're like, we're not signing up for that bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't care what
yeah.
Scott Galloway or Dave Ramsey say. These
Right,
two
right.
cops,
But Dave Ramsey is a simp, man.
right.
You know, you know, and see, you got to understand, Dave Ramsey is also a boomer simp.
Oh my God.
He's a boomer simp. He still think that women now are like the women. And somebody said his daughter was a feminist. But sure, I sent you some. I sent you something. But sure, when you get it, email me back. I want you to look at something. Just give me your perspective. I thought it was a fairly balanced analysis. And good to see you, sis. But yeah, check that email out for sure that I sent you, and just tell me what you think. But yeah, man, I agree with you, man. Cheap masculinity never works, and
Right.
and they don't like the fact that men are beginning to wake up. And what I've learned is that they don't respect the men that sent for them.
Oh, but look at Therese. Look at Will Smith. Look at
Yep.
all these men that are getting cooked out here. I mean, it's a
Yep.
humiliation. It's really the institution of marriage is taking a whole. If you talk about an image thing out here, these women are really making married men look bad.
Mhm.
Look at Will Smith. He was a lot. That's a That's a 1%. If Will Smith was in China or Will Smith was in anywhere in Asia or anywhere else, they'd be worshiping him. Instead, he's dealing with an old 304, just tarnishing his image as a man. Look at Therese crying all over the place. I mean, the list goes on of these guys getting cooked out here.
Mhm.
They're not really making a representation for marriages. And then you got Tia Mowry graduating from marriage. You got all kinds of craziness going on with this society. You're making a mockery of married men. We did the psychological today study where 89% of the OnlyFans subscribers is married men. And like, why is 89% of the men on OnlyFans married men? What kind of thirst exists in these homes? What kind of deprivation is going on over there, man? You got some thirsty married dudes, and it's like, this is not selling for the institution of marriage.
Mhm.
Not only with divorces and child support and child custody and guys getting torched in family court, but the image itself of marriage has become the image of cuckery. You can't sell that to the young men. That's a serious branding issue. That's a serious reality issue. So of course the numbers are going to take it. These young men are like, hell no, don't sign me up for that.
Yeah.
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 It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell, man. It's a tough sell.
It is a tough sell, and then the reality is that the reality is that a lot of men are not falling for it, man. They still think that having degrees and money makes them valuable, and it doesn't. It doesn't make them valuable because most men don't care about that, man. And that's the way it is. We need to do another show on the back end at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely, my brother.
Before I let you go, man, what you get out of this conversation, man?
I mean, I think what it is really is, when I think about it with this conversation, we talk about masculinity for cheap, as you've talked about it, that they assume in this society that our masculinity is just that it's not worth anything, that it's free, that you don't have to be anything to deserve it, and you don't have to be worthy of receiving these protection or provision. It's almost like they're entitled to certain things with men, and men are starting to wake up. So I think that's the main focus on this conversation, that men are waking up. The content that you're putting out, the help that you're doing, the help that we're doing towards men is working.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. Yep, yep. What do you think about your Spurs, man?
Oh man, you kidding me? I'll leave that alone, man, because we got some Oklahoma City fans in here, and I got a lot of Oklahoma City fans that are on my Facebook and everything else like that. I'll let the wounds heal for 24 hours, maybe
Is that-
heal a little longer, before I say anything, because
Right.
it's tough. It's tough out here, man. But hey, it is what it is, man. The Spurs are back.
Yep.
I would say that not only the rebirth of Tim Duncan, but just beyond Tim Duncan. He was just more talented, more skilled than Tim.
Yeah. Oh, you think Wemby is?
Wemby is a beast.
You
Wemby,
think he must skill to Tim? I don't think
well,
he
Tim
must skill.
is a type of player. Tim is a more fundamental, old school big man
Right.
with jump shot. Wemby is more of a freak. To be honest with you, he's a freak of nature.
So who you think got it all, man? You think they're gonna win? They're gonna win it all?
Man, I'm biased to the Spurs, but hey, I ain't gonna leave that alone, man. I ain't gonna leave that alone.
Wait, what do you think about? Okay, what do you think about the Hurricanes, man?
What?
He said what? He said the Carolina Hurricanes, man.
Man, come on, man. North Carolina faithful over here.
We won the Eastern Championship
Yeah.
in hockey. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hockey, man.
Yeah, I know you talk about hockey, but still, I don't know no hockey man. I don't know hockey man.
All right, shout out to Wicked Witch of the West. He said,
Pre-om. Pre-om, but you think about it, man. And I think like the disrespect for manhood and masculinity today is literally, they really expect men to be dumpster divers. And we talk about that all the time. It's really a disrespectful environment, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And they try to drive the value of something up that men don't see as valuable anymore.
Mhm.
And these dudes would rather stay single and play their video games than to sign up for some of these deals that is being offered out here, man. This is terrible deals.
Yep, it is terrible. Shout out to Kwasi. Yeah, man, we'll make it work, man. I'll get you on the back end, man.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you for everybody. Bashir said, Coach, my husband and I will both review what you sent me. Yeah, check it out, Bashir. I think you and your husband will like it. It's the most balanced one that I've seen. Just tell me what you think. Tell me what you and your husband. I think you and your husband will like it. It was a good video by Dr. Fred C. Price Jr. So tell me how you guys like it. I'll reach out to y'all at some point. And but anyway, what you got in this conversation, man? Before I let you go.
Well, I think, like I said, what you talked about masculinity, and this idea of static blackness, and that we're not all this monolith. There's so many different perspectives, too many different value systems, and individual tribes or people with different value systems, people with different economic situations. We don't think the same,
Right.
and our standards are different.
Mhm.
Some of us have higher standards. We don't just accept anything that's given to us. And we talk about the idea of creating a new tribe. We are a part of a new tribe.
Mhm.
And if you watch any of these videos and you look at certain communities and the way the structure is and what goes on in these communities, and I think you're absolutely correct. We're not a monolith. The static blackness thing, we don't just because you identify as a race or color, and that all men that are in the West are experiencing a lot of the same issues that they're having in this gynocracy.
Mhm.
And it's a gynocentric environment.
Yeah,
Where
it is.
they're trying to get the Scott Galloways, the Dave Ramseys, and all these other people are trying to grab masculinity by the horn and direct it down to the simp pastors. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Shout out to my man, International Quantum. All right. Well, listen, man, we're going to end it here, guys. Thank you for
salute, brother.
tuning in.
I
And
appreciate
the
you,
conversation,
man.
once again, was therapists Iraq, why cheap masculinity never works. We're going to end it here. Peace and love. I'll hit you up on the back end, man. We'll talk, brother. Be good.
All right.
All right. Yes, sir.
Peace.
All right. All right, guys. We're about to end it here. Shout out to my brother, Peace for Life. And I'm about to go get my walk on, man. And I'll see you guys soon. And thank you to the #1 sponsors, and Ray Johnson and the International Quiet Storm. And I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.
Fire for your mind. The Culture Clinician.
So long ago, never gonna
ass, loser ass
Your
nigga.
video with comments about a
He's a
certain
loser.
other female.
Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings. And most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't